All right, Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for December 14th through the 20th. My name is Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to this type of astrology, do check the description down below. All right, so a much easier week to work with this week, as it's been a very transformative early part of December. We've had Mars go over that square up to Uranus and Pluto. So things are a little bit easier to work with. There's some sextiles in the air. Venus does go into a much easier energy in Libra, and I think just generally there's a shift, and I think there's just more expansion and opening up, whereas the earlier part of December much more transformative and maybe deeper. So let's go and have a look and see what this looks like for you guys in particular. It starts right on Monday, when we have the sun squaring up to your ruler Jupiter. So you guys could be feeling quite expressive, maybe even optimistic, but usually with your ruler and the sun, quite expressive this early part of the week. But do keep it nice and grounded with that square energy and work with it integrated. This is all in regards to these new beginnings that have been unfolding since last week, involving your spiritual timeout, with your sun, this now lunar cycle in your 12th. It's all about your connection to God. It's all about your connection to that now moment, presence, meditation, your acceptance, having faith and trust in your life. And those are some good things to work on this early part of the week, maybe to get some of that rest and relaxation and alone time that is needed sometimes. But Mercury is going to be sextiling up to Neptune, so it could be on one level, especially with your relationships and career, quite easygoing in general. So with that, especially with Mercury in your first house, a lot of you are thinking more, think about your goals in life, who you are, what you want to change. Mercury is going to go over Pluto at the end of the week, so there's a lot of changes with you taking place. But here in the early part, specifically around relationships and career, could be easygoing, and it's an opening for that. It's not a given, but can be serendipitous and enjoyable. Now, here on Thursday, we do have Venus sextiling up to Pluto. So involving for you the maybe health, the diet, and the routine, maybe even the work environment could be changing, and in a nice way where you could be feeling quite good about that. So be open to that change. Also be open to change with networks or your friends or groups or organizations, and I think that'll just allow that positive energy to come into the mix there. So that's going to be that basically middle part of the week there with Venus. And one thing I want to say about Venus too is that she's going into your 11th house, which is a much better placement for her to be in. She's been in Virgo, which is debilitation for her. So I think just things naturally involving the routine, involving friends and things like that are starting to shift, and the organization is starting to shift. So if you've been feeling like that's been more of a challenging area, I think with Venus going into Libra, those areas are going to be much easier to work with. Could be good for, just getting things done in general, since she's that daily planet for you. So going into the weekend here, the sun does square up to the north node. And so here it's all about integration towards your life path, which right now is about your career or your legacy, your big picture plans, which is that north node in the 10th house. So integrate that, take that nice and slow. It could be important to bring that extra attention into the later part of the week, but how to balance that with that alone time. That's what the square is all about. It's how to integrate the two. How can you have more of that presence in the career or in the work? How can you have that faith and trust there as well, maybe for some of you? And vice versa. Maybe it does take work. Maybe it does take patience and everything to work on these spiritual things, especially with Saturn in the 12th house, how to establish your foundations in life, because there's that, that connection, that soul connection to it, and that intuition, that guidance, which is so important for you to listen to. Now, over the weekend, Venus does trine up to Chiron. So again, easy aspects from Venus, which again is your routine, your work, and also groups and organizations, all in that 11th house. Probably feeling good about that, and probably feeling quite rejuvenated in regards to those things over the weekend. I would say a good weekend for those as well. Now, Mercury does go over Pluto, so there is a transformation and change involving your relationships and career, and even yourself this weekend. So it's great to be open. It's very important to be open to these areas of life. Be open to change with you. Be open to change with your goals, your plans, as it has been with Pluto, but now it gets activated by Mercury. Be open to change with your relationships. So, do what's right. Draw that line in the sand when it's necessary, when it's right. And with your career, maybe there's something that needs to change there. And it's all about perspective. It's not really the external environment that we're changing as much as it's our perspective first. Be willing to change your perspective of self, of your goals, of relationships in general, and of your career, and then naturally the energies can unfold. Now, the square up to Uranus is suggesting to keep those areas of life nice and grounded with that square up to Uranus, because there's something here that's telling you to bring in some freedom in regards to those areas, maybe so you can get some more home time, family time. maybe even health time, more of the watery energies of life, the personal life into it, something wanting to be freed up there. And that's been an ongoing theme with Pluto squaring up to Uranus. So listen to that, integrate it, and I think naturally that can be a good time for change in those areas in the long term. And it's quite a quick transit. Mercury's going to be flying forward over Pluto and be going over that and finished by the early part of next week with that square up to Uranus. All right, Sagittarius, so have a fantastic week. I want to thank you all very much for all of your support. If you guys have any questions, please do let me know, and I'll see you guys all next time. Take care.